everyone, and welcome to today's webcast exploring the latest Microsoft BI landscape. My name is Jen Cherry. I am a Business Intelligence and Analytics Consultant with Thorogood. I will be joined today by my colleague, Matt Harrison. Matt and I have been working with Thorogood for a number of years, helping customers implement enterprise business intelligence and analytics solutions, and today we are joining you from our Philadelphia office. As mentioned, if you have any questions for us today, please feel free to get in touch with us via our contact details that are on the screen right now if you wish to have a longer discussion about today's topic. We'll also throw our contact details up at the end of the webcast. So without further ado, our agenda today will start with an introduction to Thorogood. We'll then discuss the overall Microsoft roadmap, but since there is so much to cover there, we'll focus today's webcast on two key areas that have been and continue to evolve: Power BI and the SQL Server platform. So for those of you who don't know Thorogood, we are an independent global professional services firm specializing in business intelligence and analytics, strategies, solutions, and services, with a keen focus on our customers. We have just celebrated our 30th anniversary. We are a global company with offices in New York, Philadelphia, London, Bangalore, India, Singapore, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. All of our consultants are recruited and trained in the same way to develop a unique mix of skills, blending business understanding in the form of industry and functional experience with strong technical aptitude and a deep understanding of analytical tools and techniques. We offer a full range of BI and analytics services, including strategy and roadmaps, requirements, design, implementation, and training and support. Our clients typically span four data-rich verticals: consumer goods, pharmaceutical and health services, banking, and insurance. Our clients are some of the leading organizations in these sectors, and we take a lot of pride in the long-standing relationships we have fostered with some of the names you see here. In terms of the technologies we work with, we are an independent consulting firm, meaning we don't work with one specific technology. We do, however, work and partner with many of the key players across the market in order to provide our clients with a solution that best suits their needs. With today's topic focusing on Microsoft, I've put together some of our Microsoft credentials for you. We have been a Microsoft Gold partner for over 10 years, and we are certified for data analytics, platform and collaboration, and content. And in addition, we are a cloud platform certified partner. Our partnership gives us a great interface into the Microsoft development team, allowing for open communication, both from Microsoft directly to our customers and feedback from our customers back to the developers. We're a part of a number of their programs as listed here, including being a member of the Business Intelligence and Advanced Analytics Partner Advisory Council. If you're interested in working with us on any of the innovation programs listed on the screen or interested in progressing a Microsoft initiative, please reach out and let us know. So today's topic, Microsoft BI Roadmap. The Microsoft BI and Analytics product suite is quite expansive. We've tried to categorize the products in many ways, but feel that grouping them into these four categories, reporting, collaboration, data platform, and analytics, helps to best communicate the extensive, broad reach that Microsoft spans. As you can see, there's quite a lot across the product suite to cover. Too much for us to do justice on in our short webcast today. We're going to focus our attention today on the evolution we've seen and expect to continue to see with Power BI and SQL Server 2017. If you have any questions about the other products within the BI and Analytics suite, please feel free to drop a question in the chat or reach out to us after the webcast, and we'd be happy to help answer your questions. So with that, let's jump right into Power BI. So the major area we thought we would focus on is the continued evolution of Power BI. Power BI continues to receive monthly updates, and in the past few months, we've seen the release of a couple key elements that help to put Power BI on the enterprise readiness path. Today, we're going to focus on three of these key areas. We'll first look at the new premium licensing offering and what additional functionality it provides. Then we'll look at understanding the new Power BI report server and how that differs from SQL Server reporting services and Power BI service. Finally, we'll explore and show how some of the newer changes within Power BI help to put it on a path to better support workflows related to testing and deployments by looking into how workspaces and apps work together. The launch of the Power BI Premium licensing option occurred in early Q4 of this year. Now that it's been out for a month or two, we will take a look at the features and evaluate where we see them fitting in within your organization's Power BI implementation. Microsoft presented Premium kind of in two pieces, the functionality and features available at launch, as well as some future functionality that they're planning on adding. If we first look at the available at launch functionality, we can see the following highlights. Dedicated capacity. With the Premium offering, organizations can now scale up and scale down their slice of Power BI based on their needs. Prior to the availability of Premium, all organizations shared the capacity available to Power BI. And with that, we saw a lot of restrictions, such as size restrictions and refresh restrictions. Premium allows organizations to get their own dedicated space within Power BI, but it's still completely integrated. So from an end user perspective, there are no changes. At launch, they released 3 capacity sizes you can select from, and we anticipate these options to grow as Premium evolves. With there being dedicated space for the processing to occur now, as mentioned, restrictions can be removed. 2 in particular that are worth noting are that the 10 gigabyte per Power BI Pro license is now 100 terabytes of storage for each capacity provisioned, so significantly more space for your organization. And instead of a limit of 8 refreshes per day, you can have up to 48. This provides the ability to provide data more frequently to users, which is key for many reporting needs. And finally, many organizations will have a large ratio of report consumers to those report creators and admins. Prior to Premium, any user who is viewing a report online would have required Pro licenses. Now that you can have your own dedicated space, users who are simply consuming those reports no longer require a license as long as you have the Premium licensing option. The content viewed just has to be packaged and distributed via the Power BI app, which we'll talk about shortly. While the Premium offering was just released, Microsoft did announce some additional functionality and features they expect to come in the future. We've identified a couple key items that we know will be key improvements for you. One of those being additional restrictions being removed. So there's currently a 1 gigabyte data set limit, which will eventually be increased based on the capacity option that you select when you sign up for Premium. From what we've come to understand, we believe Microsoft will be rolling this out gradually as they test performance of larger data sets. Additionally, with the increase in data sets, doing full refreshes is going to become burdensome and time-consuming. The hope is to also enable the capability for incremental refreshes of data to ensure the newest data is getting into the hands of the business as soon as possible. Speaking of refreshes, data refreshes are the most intensive processes happening within Power BI. With Premium, you have dedicated capacity and nodes, so the next logical administration element would be to dedicate capacity purely to the data refresh to limit the impact on any other routine reporting. This should provision the ability for data refreshes to occur during business hours without impacting the business's access to the reports. And another interesting functionality that they mention and we hope to see come to fruition is the geographic distribution capability. This would allow for data to be maintained in certain locations for security restrictions and also provision the capability for global deployments, limiting geographic performance challenges. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk now about their new Power BI report server. For the past year or so, Microsoft has been evolving how they'll provide for on-premise reporting. Traditionally, we've had our SQL Server reporting services native mode. With the release of Power BI Premium, they have officially established their roadmap for on-premise and cloud reporting with 3 reporting interfaces available. You have your traditional SQL Server reporting services native mode. We have the new Power BI report server, as well as the Power BI service, which has been around for a while. If we focus on the 2 on-premise reporting options, the first one is the SQL Server reporting services. Again, your traditional native mode report manager, which you can actually see here in the bottom right image. Here is where you can render reporting services reports and mobile reports, as well as some KPIs. You can still store Power BI workbooks and Excel workbooks here, but they're simply files and they're just for downloading onto your desktop to open there. They cannot be rendered within the Report Manager browser. To use reporting services Report Manager, you do need SQL Server Standard or Enterprise licensing. So what about your Power BI reports? How can you render those on-premise? The roadmap has provided for the Power BI report server, which is the screenshot in the top right here. You can see the Power BI icon up here. This is available with either Power BI Premium or if you have SQL Server Enterprise licensing with the software assurance option. This report server has the same functionality as SQL Server reporting services, but it also includes the ability to render Power BI reports directly within the report server browser. This would allow for an organization to share their Power BI reports in an on-premise configuration instead of needing to move to the Power BI service, which is in the cloud. At this time, you can only render Power BI reports. You do not have the added capability of dashboards or apps, which are two things you get with the Power BI service. And I called out those screenshots, and as you can see, the look and feel of the reporting services, report manager versus the Power BI report server are quite similar. They continue to have that look and feel of the Power BI service and the same look and feel between the two, with just a little bit more Power BI look and feel coming through with the Power BI report server. So this is really going to provide a friendly and familiar user interface across the three report offerings for your users so that it's fairly seamless. So now that we've discussed accessing the reports on-premise, we're going to switch gears and discuss the Power BI service, which, as I said, has been around for as long as Power BI has been around. They still do not have an official seamless deployment pathway, but they are making significant improvements to help facilitate that process in an easier way. So if we look at our little diagram here, we're going to talk about the Power BI workflow, and then we're going to go ahead and demo this so that you can see it as well. So once your report authors are happy with the reports that they've created on their desktop, they can publish to the app workspace within Power BI to start creating a dashboard. Within the workspace, users can be added and designated as read-only to allow further testing of content if needed. Each workspace will contain the reports and the associated data sources that power the reports. When the content is verified, the report authors can then publish an app from the app workspace. All content within a workspace is bundled into the app. Appropriate permissions can be provided to users via AD groups. The app consumers or end users will not be able to modify content within that app. The separation between the app workspace and an app means that report authors can further continue to refine the dashboards without affecting the end users who are using the app. When a new version is ready to be shared, authors can republish the app to push the changes to the end users. In addition, you can now select which dashboards and reports you want to publish to the app. So if some reports are complete and ready for distribution, you can make them available. However, if some reports or dashboards are still under development or testing, you can hold those back and keep them from being published to the app. When they're ready to go, you can simply republish the app with the additional content included. Another nice feature is that if you set up a scheduled refresh or manually refresh the data associated with the app, the refresh will automatically flow through to the app without a business user having to take any intermediate steps. One important thing to note is that your app consumers will require either a pro license or the workspace that the app is published from will have to exist within the premium capacity space in order for consumers to access and consume the app without a license. So looking into the future, we do expect the workflow of the app workspaces and apps to continue to evolve over time. Some additional functionality that we hope to see in the future includes the ability to add AD groups to the app workspaces. And as you'll see in the demo, today you can only add individuals, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to add AD groups to those app workspaces. Also, we hope to be able to push apps to end users. And you'll see when I demo this as well. Right now, the only way to share the apps once you publish them is either by sharing out the URL or having your users go in to the app source, which allows them to browse available apps within your organization. And then one other thing that we thought was worth noting that hopefully we'll see soon is the ability to copy or move dashboards, reports, and data sets across workspaces. So without further ado, let me jump into the demo here. And so I'm going to pull up Power BI. So I'm signed into Power BI here, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and create my app workspace. So under Workspaces, we go to this yellow button, and it says Create App Workspace. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I have the ability to name it. So I'm going to call this Roadmap Demo. And I have a couple options here. I can make it a public app workspace, which means anybody within my organization can see what's inside it, or I can limit it to be a private one where only approved members can see what's inside. So I'm going to keep it private. And then I also have the ability for those members who I give access to, whether or not they can edit content or view content. So this is where you can control what level of editing your users have access to. So I'm going to keep it as edit, but I'm not going to share this with anyone. I'm going to keep it as my own app workspace. But here's where I was saying earlier that right now, if you do want to share this with anybody, you just have to enter individuals' email addresses within your organization. But hopefully soon we'll see the ability to add AD groups. So I'm going to go ahead and, the other thing I wanted to show was if you do have a premium offering, premium capacity, here's where you indicate that your app workspace is within that premium capacity. So I'm going to go ahead and save my app workspace right now, and it's going to bring me directly to the ability to add content here. So I'm going to shrink that menu. So here's where you can bring in the content that you want for your app workspace. I have a Power BI workbook that's on my desktop that I want to upload. So I'm going to go ahead and access that right now. So local file, and here we are. So that will take a little bit to upload, but while that is uploading, what I'm going to go ahead and pull up is a workspace where I've already uploaded that. So here we have the content that was uploaded. So it will separate your content by dashboards, reports, workbooks, and data sets. So here you can see that what I uploaded was one dashboard and a report, and the associated data set all came through. You have some different actions that you can do here, such as create another report. You can refresh the data directly, or you can create a scheduled refresh. You can also have some other options and settings as well as security, or even download the Power BI workbook there. And then you have options with, additional options within your reports as well. So now I want to share this with my colleague, Matt. So I want to publish my app, which you can see is a nice yellow box up here called Publish App. But I am not quite done with this dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this, which is included in app. So this allows you to control what dashboards and reports you actually publish in that app. So the only thing that we'll see get published is the report and its associated data set. So I'll go ahead and publish that app now, and it asks me for a couple more things. So I'll give it a description, and I'll say roadmap, whoops, I kicked out of that one. Sorry about that. So I'll just enter demo, let you choose a fun little background color if you'd like here, so we'll go with some yellow, and then content. And you can see what content will be published. So it just uploaded the other one that I was in the process of importing, which is why you see the report and data set here twice. Then you can choose a landing page. So this would be the default content where your viewers first arrive when they enter the app. You can select what report or dashboard if you've published a dashboard, or you can just select none. So we'll select none. And then finally, you have the option to give access to users. So you can either give access to the entire organization or specific individuals or groups. So here you can give access to an AD group. I'm going to go ahead and give access just to Matt here. And so when I publish this, I will be presented with a URL, which I can then copy and share to Matt. Or if we go to what Matt would be seeing, so this is Matt's homepage here, and so if he goes to apps, he doesn't have any apps yet. So this is where I was talking about you either have to share the URL or your user would have to find it. And again, hopefully we'll get to a point where we're able to directly push these apps out. So if Matt wanted to find the app that I just shared with him, he can go to Get Apps, which is the app source application, and any apps that have been shared with him will appear here. So now we can see the Microsoft roadmap, which I just shared with him. And if we say get it now, It will refresh, and now Matt can go in and he can see the reports that have been shared with him. So hopefully that was an interesting demo and helped to show you the workflow associated with the Power BI apps. And at this point, I'm going to switch it over and give Matt control, and he'll take you through the rest of our webcast today.
Great. Thanks, Jen. So now I'm going to walk us through, at a high level, an overview of the updates made to SQL Server with SQL Server 2017. So before we jump into the specific updates, I thought it would be worth setting the scene with some themes across these updates. So these themes will, at a high level, illustrate the direction that Microsoft continues to take with their flagship business intelligence product. So first we have performance improvements. And this is always important with the bar that continues to be elevated by really any technology out there, and this pertains to both processing and querying performance improvements that we'll see on the next slide. Next, we have a refinement of end-user experience, and so this pertains to the continued focus on the end user, whether it be with ad hoc analysis tools like SQL Server Analysis Services or with structured reporting tools like SQL Server Reporting Services. Third, we have improved options for developers and admins, which illustrates a complementary focus on the ease and speed in which developers can create robust systems for those end users. And then lastly, we have SQL Server Analytics. And this is somewhat specific, but truly representative of Microsoft's really new approach to opening up their platform. And this continued evolution from where things were only a few years ago will allow Microsoft technologies to continue to be more powerful in their ability to integrate with the BI market. And so with those themes in mind, now let's jump into the actual updates across SQL Server 2017, specific to the different services that are offered within that tool. And so we're not going to cover everything here today. Rather, I'm just going to focus on the first two, analysis services and reporting services. However, I did want to show this slide really just to illustrate the depth and the breadth across the different services and the updates you see. And of course, if you're interested in an update that isn't that we don't specifically cover today, so really anything outside of analysis services and reporting services, or in more detail around analysis services and reporting services, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so jumping into analysis services first in a bit more detail. In summary, just to pull that up here, we have, like SQL Server 2016, a noticeable focus on improving analysis services tabular. And so this is, again, what we saw in 2016. For those of you guys who aren't aware, tabular is a younger offering than analysis services multidimensional, and one that continues to grow in popularity due to its ease of adoption and development. So it's not really a surprise that Microsoft is continuing to invest in this offering. So what's specifically changing? So first, we're going to see a revised data import experience. So for those of you guys who are familiar with importing data into Power Pivot in Excel, it's going to look a lot more like that, as more of a, quote, get data experience. In addition, you're now going to have a DAX editor in Visual Studio 2017. In other words, you're not going to have to guess and oftentimes struggle through debugging formulas because you're going to have that smart kind of IntelliSense as part of that formula editing experience. On the user side, there are updates to ragged hierarchies allowing for much cleaner display in end-user tools like Excel, as well as customizable detail row actions, meaning that you can right-click on different cells and have different actions that users can do just by clicking on different cells within Excel or other user tools. And this has been something that's been popular for a long time in analysis services multidimensional, so it's good to see that this coming into tabular in a more robust way. So a couple different technical points there. As I understand that might not be the detail of that might not be particularly relevant to everyone. So I did want to just summarize this up into, put quite simply, if you guys are taking this away and speaking to other folks in your organization, what does this really mean for you? And so really kind of two main points. So first, you can expect more efficient and effective delivery of tabular models. I think tabular is already a tool that's touted as pretty easy to stand up, spin up different models. Organizations can invest not too much and get quite a bit out of them. And with these updates, that's going to continue to improve. So that'll make tabular models more attractive to organizations that are looking for semantic models for business applications. Second, the continued updates to the end user experience will further underscore the robust value that a tabular model can provide. So with those, updates to ragged hierarchies and customizable row actions, as well as a couple other more minor points that I didn't explicitly list on the slide, they're going to become more attractive to end users as well. And so now with reporting services, first we can summarize this by increased collaboration capabilities and with some helpful updates to developers. And so just jumping into this in a bit more detail, what's specifically changing? And so the first one, and perhaps the most significant, is that you can now add comments to reports on SQL Server Report Server, and that includes attachments. And so this, for those people who are familiar with other technologies and other reporting platforms, you'll see that a lot of technologies continue to invest in the notions of collaboration, whether it be through adding annotations to reports or adding comments around reports, and we see that Microsoft is doing the same with SQL Server Report Server. So again, you'll be able to add comments and add attachments. You can also manage that commentary access via the reporting services database, which is really kind of the database behind the scenes on the report server. Now, from the developer side, what we're going to see is improvements in that DAX query editor in Report Builder. So I mentioned on the previous slide that you'll have a DAX editor in Visual Studio, which is where you'll create your tabular models, as well as create your reporting services reports. And that same DAX editor is going to be available in Report Builder as well. So really, that's going to be an improvement across the board, helping developers. And so what does this mean for you? SQL Server Report Server can now be used to foster collaboration, whereas previously really wasn't an area that people could rely on to foster that collaboration, as well as SQL Server Reporting Services report development will now have a lower barrier to entry, particularly when you're using tabular models and looking to create DAX queries on top of those models. So again, even with reporting services, we see that tabular models are becoming more attractive, as well as reporting services. SQL Server Report Server is also becoming more attractive. Okay. And so now that I've covered in a bit more detail some of those key updates to SQL 2017, we're going to quickly wrap up with a brief conclusion today. So as we mentioned at the start of the webcast, Microsoft offers a vast array of technologies, including multiple service areas. So while we've only covered Power BI and SQL Server today, there are plenty to explore outside of those technologies. And if you have questions on any of these technologies and how you may look to leverage them in your BI ecosystem, don't hesitate to reach out. And really, for all of these here, we do have a number of different on-demand webcasts and content that are available on our website. So again, if there are areas that are of particular interest, please do reach out, or feel free to go through our website and check out the on-demand content. And then more generally, if we can help answering any other questions you might have about your organization's BI strategy, we're of course happy to help. And so I've captured a number of the services we offer, as well as some specific engagements in which we've engaged with customers in the past using the Microsoft technology stack. Of course, if you're interested in other technologies too, any of the technologies that we listed earlier at the start of the webcast, we can certainly help there as well. And so that's it for today. We've concluded. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.